friend of mine reached out to me and asked a question, this exact same question I was thinking about. Like, how do we stop the Islamization of the West? Because everywhere you look right now, whether it be in Europe, the UK, even here in the United States, you're seeing this takeover that is completely out of control, right? And there's nobody even standing up to stop it. And it's dangerous because this is not about religion. It's not about trying to assimilate into our nation. It's about a hostile war. It's about takeover because everywhere that goes, it's submission to them. And that's exactly what they want. So the question again was, a friend of mine on Facebook asked me, and I was thinking the exact same thing. I said, you know what? It's time to do reading on us. So the question again is why, what do we need to do to stop the Islamization of the West? All right, so we're going to do a Celtic Cross. We start off with the Emperor. We got to take control. We have to rule as an emperor would. That means there's no more giving into it, no more allowing it to take over. For example, when they pray in the street, they don't do that in their own countries. They only do it in America because it shows submission to them. Every time a mosque goes up, it shows that they have won or conquered that nation. That's a signal to the Islamic world that they've won. And the Emperor theme is telling you that that has got to stop because we got to take control back of our nation. What could be blocking it is the Ace of Wands. It's funny, we no longer have the desire to stand up for anything. People have been drained. They have their livelihoods taken away. They have been stripped down of everything. That's why the Wands is flipped, because they feel that no matter what they do, what difference does it make? Any potential, any opportunity that's given to them, the government takes it away. For example, jobs, right? Yes, I'm shifting here because it's important. When jobs are taken away, they have no income. They have no resources. They feel like they're giving up. They can't feed their family. And so when they allow this Islam to slip in, they're too worried about their next meal. That's what's blocking them from really standing up. So I don't know if the government's going to stand up, but the people have got to become the emperor of their own nation. We have to unite under the banner of freedom and not under the banner of a law that's mixed with war and religion, Islam. Okay, so that's what's going on, and that's why it's being allowed to happen, because the people are just tired. But they got to snap out of it, and they got to raise up real quick and really hard, because this 5 energy, if you have a 4 for the Emperor, the 1 for the Ace of Wands is a 5. It means it's going to be struggle unless you stand up and fight. If you stand up and fight against it, I'm not saying use violence. I didn't say that, but you have to fight. And that will then give you the freedom. You have to show them that you've had enough. So then, what brought us here? What is allowing this to happen? Well, the 9 of Wands. Yeah, people are just so tired. They're so beat up over the last 4 or 5 years, right? When you had that one pandemic that happened, right? It just wiped people out. It destroyed their will. It destroyed their spirit. It killed them. They're always fighting against agendas, against sides, which again is perpetrated by the government to allow this thing to grow in the West. And so that is what the root cause is. People are just tired. They're just sick of always having to stand up, because no matter what they do, it doesn't work. The voting doesn't work. Speaking out doesn't work. So what's the answer? Well, we know what the answer is, because Islam only understands one thing, and it's not voting. Okay? So what's the outcome look like? The 10 of Cups. We can have happiness if people stand up. If we don't stand up, then they're going to have happiness in our nation and take it away. Because right now, their whole goal is to strip us of our values, of our nation, of everything that we stand for. That's their goal. So if we want happiness, we have to fight for it. Even though we're tired, we can't. We have to stand up against it and fight back. That's the vibe that the cards are showing. When you look at these 2 cards here, the past and the present, or what got us here and where we're headed, we can have the harmony, but it's going to take a 19, which is a 1 energy and 9 energy, which gives you a 10. You have to break the cycle, which means see through the propaganda, see through the lies, see through the deception, because they want you to think that, see this card here in the future position serves 2 purposes, right? It's also a shadow, because it's the shadow that they're showing you that, oh, Islam is a religion of peace, it's beautiful, it's wonderful. But yet when you look to the Middle East, it's not peaceful, is it? If you're of a certain community, you're thrown off a building. If you're a woman, you're forced to be in garments head to toe without showing anything in the blazing sun, while the men can do whatever they see fit. That's not equality. That's slavery. But for the men in that culture, it's a wonderful thing. For the people in America, it's a terrible thing. So if we stand up, then we can break that and bring back our family of nationalism back to the forefront. It has nothing to do with race, religion, or creed. It has everything to do with coming together under the same principles of which the country was founded. That's how you bring it back. Now, I don't want to look at the known or the subconscious. How do we get it back? What's the question? So, what do we know? We know that the moon, boy, that's a cool card coming up with what you know, because it knows that you have to get over the illusions of it. You have to stop believing the lies, because as long as you believe the lies you're being told, nothing changes. And that's how they're keeping you in this system that's going to be your demise. Look what happened in Texas. They're actually causing ruckus and chaos. They're having a whole area dedicated to them. That is not allowed in the United States. I can't remember the act off the top of my head, but there was a bill many years ago that forbid it, and yet our politicians are allowing it because it's deception. They want you to believe it's a religion. It's not a religion. Islam is not a religion. It's a political ideology mixed with war, conquest, and law. But they use religion as the guise to fool the masses. That's what's known. So if you want to really break this from happening, you have to wake up from your stupor and realize that what's coming is not peace, it's war. Them against you. And right now you're seeing them rise up because, again, once they hit 2%, I think it's 5% of the population, they will start to take over. But they got to keep you asleep, as the moon shows there. And what's driving this subconsciously? The Six of Wands flipped. Again, you have no peace or harmony. None. They want to purposely beat you down in order to replace your values. Why do you think for so many years it started, and this goes way back to Bush, right? This isn't a Republican or Democrat thing because there's one party today. They start taking away your freedoms, your joys. 9/11, what happened? The Patriot Act, that was written many years prior. It was planned. It was orchestrated. And you have all the shenanigans with Obama, allowing propaganda to be used on the people against the United States, which what causes you to be in a position of no victory, right? It's been taken away. You have nothing to look forward to. That's what's the underpinning energy here, is that they want to keep you in this position of slavery and servitude to where you can't find any peace or victory anywhere that you look. Rentals, all-time high. Houses you can't afford. Jobs be given to foreign nationals. That's what's going on now. And it's carried on through Clinton's, Obama, Trump, the first term, Biden and Trump, the second term. It has just been year over year of one party ruling both, making you think they're sides, but they're not. The sides is what they need you to think to maintain victory over you, to keep you upside down, because as long as you're pitted against one another, you cannot rise up. You can't be the emperor energy they need. They need to take away your will with the one, okay? That's the basis of how this is playing out. Now, as we come up the staff, we want to look at the desires, right? And so again, it's the devil. Gosh, isn't this insanity? Also, if you want to know what these cards mean in more depth, I just rewrote the entire major arcana where I go into more of the psychological aspects. You're not going to find these meanings anywhere online, right? I go into a much deeper tone, more hard-hitting, to really help you understand that. I'm not done yet, but if you head over to wordtotwist.com, you'll see what I'm talking about. Start with the full walkthrough, and you're going to see what I'm going to offer you. Anyway, the devil, this is desire. They want to keep you addicted. Addicted to what? Comfort, division, picking sides, voting, things that don't work, because the devil does what? It controls the masses. You see here you have the two below and the devil above. This is blackmail. This is propaganda controlling the people below. And what I'm finding interesting here right now in this reading is that you have people on the left and the right side, right? Because they want you to pick one side to keep you trapped into the propaganda machine, to keep you trapped in the lies. That's the desires. That's what they need. And that's how they keep you embraced to push these different narratives. So you want to kill this Islamization of the West, break the addiction and start standing for something. Break it. Break it right now, because if you don't, it isn't going to end. And they know it. They know it. They know that they can keep continuing to push an agenda or a narrative because people are not doing anything to stop it, right? Then the influences are around the lovers. See? They want to put you in a position where you have to embrace whatever they give you. So rather than being in love with your country, they want to break you down so that you'll accept whatever they give you. So they're pushing Islam. They're pushing woke ideology. They're pushing all these different narratives to keep you enslaved. Because as long as they can keep you divided, then they can keep that love away from your country and keep you in love with ideology. Lovers, Islam is beautiful, it's wonderful, right? Isn't that what you always hear? But it's not. So as long as you continue to believe their lies, the 6, and by the way, the devil's a 15. What's a devil? It's a 6. You're in love with addiction. You're in love with comfort. You're in love with not standing for anything because you became complacent. And as long as you're in that position of being complacent, you can't stop it. You have to stand up and fight. Now, again, I'm not saying violence. You always defend, but you don't initiate an act. Unfortunately, with Islam, though, they only understand one thing, and that's the sword. That's in their Quran. That's in their Hadith. That's what they teach. So you don't win a war by voting. You stand up, hold your ground, create your boundaries, and say no more. You hold people accountable. How? We can talk about that another time. Now, what are the fears, the hopes? The 4 of Cups. They want you. This is so weird. Boy, oh boy. They need you to forget about how America used to be when it was united and not split like it was today. They want to take away your nostalgia. So therefore, they have to destroy your tradition, your holidays. Because if you had that, if you remember that, then guess what? They can take control. So they're afraid of that. That's why you're seeing right now a lot of people tearing down Christmas, causing problems for speaking out against this Islamic nonsense. Like I heard recently that some people spoke out against it. They were being, was it arrested or something like that for speaking out what the Constitution protects them from, which is the freedom of speech? How can you be arrested for speaking out against Islam in the United States? Because they want you to forget you have freedom. So again, you have to ignore it. You have a choice you have to make. You have to ignore that. It doesn't matter what they say. You're going to speak out regardless, and they're not going to take you because you're going to come together and unite. That's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of you remembering what it was like in the past when left and right actually did get along. When left and right weren't enemies like they are today. We actually could speak to each other in civil discord, have differences, but still agree on principle. Stand together in unity. That's what scares them, and they don't want that. So they have to continue to push this narrative and this lie to really force you into a position of servitude. That's why they're taking away your energy, but you're the emperor. You got to stand, right? And then the final outcome is you got to have also balance, because when you're completely in chaos, then nothing works. So you can't tolerate Islam. That's how you stop it. You can't tolerate it, but you can balance it. What do I mean by that? Well, the temperance shows that you have to rule, you have the emperor in the middle, with fairness, but you don't tolerate anything that goes against the Constitution. Islam is not a religion. It's a military ideology entrenched in war and law. America has constitutional law. It doesn't have Sharia law. So therefore, you can be balanced in the sense that if you want to be here, that's okay. But you're the emperor. You're not going to tolerate any Sharia anything. You're out of here. You have to be deported back to your country. And if you try to do anything, you're arrested. And if the government won't do it, then Athens, Tennessee, 1946 gives you a pretty clear picture on how to solve it, right? So anyway, that's the reading that I have on the question on the Islamization of the West. And I know I went all over the place, but it's a sensitive topic because they're coming after anybody speaking out against it, right? And so how do you stop it? You got to speak up. You can't let it wear you down. If you want the happiness that you once had, then this 9 of Wands energy, you have to stop it now. Time to stand up because they're coming for you. They're coming for you. Anyway, that's my read. If you enjoyed this, head over to my site. Make sure you sign up as a member or an insider so you can get my newsletter that I send out. Right now I'm doing it once a week and maybe up it a little bit. Let me know your thoughts on that. Drop your comments below. Until next time, I'll see you all in my next reading. All right. Bye, everyone.